Good afternoon once again, grade 4. So now we're in our lesson 1.2. Okay, let me share my screen. So last time we talked about the importance of reading. Okay, so in our module 2, we have lesson 1.2. Okay, how to be a good reader. So actually this is about some strategies, okay, that we'll be using to become a good reader. So strategy number 1, you're going to use prior knowledge. How do you use your prior knowledge? Okay, so usually you use what you already know to help you understand something new. Like for example, when you're reading a story about animals or pets. Okay, so for example, you're reading a story about dogs, so your prior knowledge, okay, about dogs can help you. Okay, so that's strategy number 1, using the prior knowledge. Number 2, making predictions. Okay, when you say making prediction, you use clues from the story to figure out what might come next. So let's try it. Okay, so let's say that in the story it says that the sky became dark. Dark clouds are moving and the wind becomes stronger. Okay, and then what do you think will happen after? Okay, so correct. Probably it's gonna rain. So you made a good prediction. Okay? So when you use clues from the story to figure out what might come next, okay, you're making predictions. Okay, now strategy. Reading strategy number 3. It's asking questions. Actually, teacher asks questions when you're reading, right? Okay, so when you were in grade 3, teachers ask you to read. And then after reading, there are some questions that we ask to check your comprehension if you understand the story. Okay, so we ask questions as you read to help you understand what you are reading. Okay, so you sometimes you will ask, so what did the character do for this situation? So we ask this question, okay, to make sure that you understand what you are reading. So by yourselves, as you are reading the text, you can ask yourself some questions like, so who is this character? Okay, okay, why is he thinking like that? Things like that. Okay. Next strategy is making inferences. Okay, so how? Okay, you use what you read and what you already know to figure out what the author is writing about. Okay, it's actually quite similar to prediction. This one, okay, you're gonna uh you're gonna figure out what the author is writing about by using what you already know. Okay. Next is using context clues. Okay. Context means it's actually how it was used in the sentence. Okay, so how? You use clues from the story to figure out the meaning of a new word. Okay. So, for example, um, let's try a word that is not familiar to you. Context clues. Okay. So let me exit from this one. Instead, let's use the whiteboard. Okay, so for example, this word, we're going to use the context clue. The word is famished. When you say the word famished, what comes into your mind? What does this mean? Okay, so if you're going to see this word alone, you don't know what it means, right? Now, if we're going to use it, there's a context clue, okay, a sentence, okay, sentence using this word. Let's try to figure out. For example, the sentence is, he was not able to eat for 3 days. He is so famished. Okay? Now, He was not able to eat for 3 days. He is so famished. Okay. So if I'm going to give you an option, what does the word famished mean? You're going to use this context, this sentence, okay, as a clue to know the meaning of the word famished, which is new to you. Okay. So let's try. What if I give you this clue? What does famished mean? Does it mean sick? He's so sick. Or B, hungry. Okay. Or C, thirsty. What do you think? Okay. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. If your answer is hungry, okay, this is correct. Okay. He was not able to eat. If you were not able to eat for 3 days, okay, what will happen? Of course, you'll get sick and thirsty. But if you're gonna read this one, the context clues, okay, the best one is hungry. So famished means hungry. Okay. So let's close it and let's go back to the PowerPoint. Okay, let me share my screen again. Okay, so there. Now, next strategy, I think this is our sixth, sixth reading strategy. Okay, finding the main idea. So how are we going to find the main idea? Do you remember your lesson, big ideas and small ideas when you were in grade 3? Okay, so this is very similar to that. The main idea. Okay, so you look for the most important point that the author is making about the subject or the topic. Okay, now let's go to point number, strategy number 7, making connections. So making connection means, okay, you connect what you read, okay, what you've just read to your own life. So probably if the reading text is about a dog, then you're gonna, when you read that, your first reading material is actually about the dog. Okay? So I'm now telling it to you. So you can make a connection by trying to remember your own experience of having a dog or, okay, your feeling, okay, which is related to that one. So that's making connections. Now the next one, it's drawing conclusions. So how? Okay, you use what you already know and what you just read to figure out what is not said in the story. Okay, so it's actually similar to prediction. Okay, so you're making your conclusion. Okay, now so this is actually the 6, 7, 8, 8. Now let's go to the ninth one. Author's purpose. So when you're reading a text, from time to time I'm gonna ask, what is the author's purpose? Why do you think did the author okay, write this piece of writing? Okay, so how? You use clues from the story to figure out why the author is writing so. Okay, sometimes you remember the purpose for writing, it can be to entertain or to persuade, right? Okay, to convince, okay, so or to inform. So these are the purpose, okay? Possible purpose of an author for writing a book. So probably if the author is the author wrote something about snakes, okay, what do you think? What could be the purpose? Okay, about the different types of snakes. Okay, okay. If your answer is to inform, that's correct. Okay. And then the last one, last reading strategy that will help you is to summarize. Whenever you read something, you try to summarize it. Summarizing is finding, organizing, and retelling important facts or elements of the story. So it's important for you to remember the elements of the story, which are the character, setting. Setting means time and place. Okay, so what are the conflict or the problem that happened? And then the plot. Okay, the plot, the beginning, right? We'll go to that one. So these are the important things. You're gonna tell the story in your own words. Okay, so these are some of the reading strategies that you can use to help you be a good reader. You know, reading is such an enjoyable thing to do, especially now during this pandemic period. This is, you can just stay inside your house, relax with a good book. Okay, so this is lesson 1.2. Okay, so for lesson 1.2, you have an activity. Activity number 3, reading strategies. So in your notebook, okay, you're going to pick out 3 reading strategies, okay, from this uh, list. Okay, pick out 3 reading strategies from the above list and tell something about it. In your own words, okay? I want you to use your own words. Okay? So I'll be seeing you for lesson 2. By the way, activity number 4 in Edmodo, identifying reading strategies, I will post it on Thursday. Okay. I'll see you for lesson 2.